Okay, it's 7 o'clock. If you would stand and join me in the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Shirley, would you call the roll, please?
Cruz.
Here.
Kalinowski.
Here.
Ball. Here. Walker.
Here.
Scarrow. Here. Williams. Here. Chensky.
Okay, on the approval of the meeting agenda for tonight, on the meeting agenda under department and committee reports, we have item A, our water department report, number 1, Wade Trim report, number 2, we have consideration of approval of a bid from dated 3/7 of 16 from Northern Pump and Well for the installation of a 4-inch Burmad Model 745 pump control valve at a cost of $6,000 plus electrical hookup. Item B is the fire department report. C is the office of the zoning administrator's report. D, planning commission report. E is the board of review. F is the PEG report. G, downtown development authority. H is the sewer project report. Under new business, we have item A, consideration of approval of purchase of terrorism insurance coverage for Filer Township offered by U.S. Specialty Insurance Company for a policy period March 1st of 2016 to March 1st of 2017. Item B, we need to discuss and approve hopefully the hiring of an architect to design a site plan for the Nelson Street office in order to comply with applicable state of Michigan public building code requirements. Item C is consideration of approval to hire Heinowski Appraisal and Consulting LLC to provide an appraisal of Packaging Corporation of America for the Michigan Tax Tribunal. D is opening of sealed brush collection bids. Item E is the Little Manistee River Watershed Management Plan. And added item F is a brief discussion of the Red Apple Road Water Tower exterior repainting for this June. Special presentations tonight. We have item A review of the Manistee County Strategic Plan, which will be presented by Mark Bergstrom, our County Commissioner. Anything else that you wish to have added to the agenda for tonight? If not, I would entertain a motion for approval.
We want to re-enter the wage for our secretary.
You want discussion of, okay, that would be under new business. Item G.
And what is item G?
Discuss wage of our secretary zoning administrator. Okay, anything else? Then I would entertain a motion for approval with those 2 additional items to the meeting agenda.
I'll move that we accept the meeting agenda.
Motion by Hachinsky, second by Kalinowski to approve the meeting agenda for tonight. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Consideration of approval of the consent agenda. On the consent agenda tonight, item A are your minutes of the regular board meeting from March 1st. B is the financial report. C is approval of the township general fund expenditures, including the fire department. Those are checks numbered 33321 through 33417, with accounts payable totaling $42,602.31. payroll totaling $12,779.40 for a grand total of $54,381.71. Item D is approval of Water Department expenditures, checks numbered 2235 through 2245, totaling $18,064.64. Item E is approval for board members to attend the Michigan Townships Association Manistee County Chapter Annual Dinner Meeting in Bear Lake on May 25th, 2016 at a cost of $14 per person. Item F is approval of a budget amendment transferring $50,000 from the fund balance of the general fund to Water Department miscellaneous. Item G is approval of a request for financial support from the Manistee Conservation District in the amount of $750 for the Household Hazardous Waste Clean Sweep Collection Day to take place in Manistee County on Saturday, August 20th, 2016. Item H is consideration of approval of the introduction of an ordinance to amend the Charter Township of Filer Code of Ordinances by adding Chapter 20 to provide for the entry and notice of mandatory run water orders by the Township Supervisor or designee to avoid damage to the Township water distribution system from freezing or frost conditions, to provide water system customers with a credit for excess water used during periods when run water orders are in effect, and to repeal all ordinances in conflict herewith. Also, in addition to the consent agenda, you have in front of you item I, which is approval for Planning Commission members and the zoning administrator to attend the Northwest Michigan Council of Governments seminar, Would Your Sign Ordinance Survive a Court Challenge?, which will be held in Manistee on May 18th at a cost of $55 per person. Any other additions or changes to the consent agenda? If not, I would entertain a motion for approval.
I'll second it.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay. Public comment. Do we have any public comment tonight?
Good evening, my name is John O'Hagan, and if you haven't heard already, my sheriff, Dale Kowakowski, is retiring at the end of this year. And there's been some news articles in the papers, so what I wanted to do tonight is just confirm and put a name with a face. John O'Hagan, I'm a Filer Township resident, and I've been with the Sheriff's Office for 27 years. The last 9 years as Dale's undersheriff, and a privilege at that. So I look forward to a busy summer as we begin the trail of getting to know everyone. And here it looks like I know pretty much everybody, at least by first name. And I look forward to meeting you or answering questions at any time if you have those. Thank you.
Thank you, John, and also thank you for your years of service. We greatly appreciate it. Anyone else? Public comment? Okay, then we will move on to reports. Item A, the water report. You have the Wade Trim monthly report in your packet. Item B, under Water Department, we have a bid before us from Northern Pump and Well, and that is in the amount of $6,000 to take care of the sand issue that's being drawn up.
How big is that valve, Terry?
It says here it's a 4-inch valve, and yeah, Mike has said that that will be sufficient to.
And what is that going to do?
Well, when he starts the pump up, it's pumping sand, and he'll run it off the back of the well house, and it's to the extent that you can, as the water, is gushing out of there, you can see it in the water, and that's been an ongoing issue for some time now. He has not been running well 3 because of that.
The sand.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Northern Pump and Well has tried this in a couple of other situations where they had the same issue, and they said it worked well. So they're going to try that. We've been dealing with that for, gosh, since I want to say last fall. Once we had the interior and exterior renovation done and started running the pump again, we started having those issues right away. So
Good enough.
Did they give us any kind of estimate of what the electrical hookup is going to be for that?
he did not, no. Paradigm has, already done a number of electrical upgrades in all 3 of our well houses, so I know I've had some discussion with Mike on that. He didn't think that it was going to be a major issue for Paradigm to hook up and be able to take care of that.
Well, I think we're locked in on trying doing it, because if we don't, we're talking a well maybe later on.
Yeah.
And that's going to be a lot more money.
Yeah. Yeah, we've already sunk a fair amount of money into that particular well, and we've had those discussions with Mike Engels with Michigan Rural Water, and it's something basically we need to do to get that well functioning as we need it again.
I'll make a motion then that we accept the Northern Pump and Well bid for $6,000 to put that valve in.
Need a support for that?
Yeah, Dean just did, okay. Motion by Hachinsky, second by Cruz, to approve the proposal from Northern Pump and Well for the control valve at a cost of $6,000 plus electrical hookup. Shirley, you want to call the roll, please?
Kalinowski,
Yes.
Paul, yes. Walker,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Cruz,
Yes.
Hachinsky,
Yes.
Scarra.
Yes.
Next item is the fire department report, which you have in your packet, Ron.
Last month we had 13 calls for service, 12 of those were medical, and 1 structure fire, which was in our township. We have transferred our Jaws of Life service from Onekama Township to Grant Township. This gives us a much shorter response time than Onekama, and we used their services yesterday, and they worked out real well as far as how rapidly that they can arrive on scene, rather than having to drive all the way from Onekama and then through the city of Manistee with the traffic. It's going to be quicker and safer for everyone. This last week we had frontline services came in and performed our maintenance on our apparatus. They also did our DOT safety inspections. We had some repairs done. He found during during the maintenance that there was water in the rear differential on the engine. And we had that issue one other time, and we found that the cause was at a structure fire, at times when you refill the tank, it'll overflow. Depending on what kind of road you're on, the truck will sit one angle or the other. Well, if you get in a certain angle and it overflows, the water will go off the back and into the vent on the differential. So what they did when he came back this time to perform that work, he repiped the overflow so that it actually goes to the back of the truck and then off to the side rather than on differential, so we should never have that issue again. He also replaced the idler pulley on our tanker. That was starting to get, the bearings were getting dry and it's starting to squeak quite a bit. And he also replaced 1 ball valve. We had a leaky valve on the tank to pump, so that as it sat at the station waiting to go on a call, it would lose water. So what we did is we replaced that, and it now sits pretty dry. I was not able to, I just received the invoices yesterday, or today, so I've not been able to total those up, but you'll see those for Frontline on next month's checklist. We started our paperwork for the grant for the end of County Line Road to Fox Farm. That has become, they've switched that, I don't know exactly how the federal government works, but they switched that funding from one place to another. So there's going to be a lot more paperwork involved. As I said in my report, the instructions for one form are 87 pages. The guide for the whole thing is 206. So it's going to be quite a process. It should be quite interesting. It's complicated enough that on April 23rd I have to do an hour-and-a-half webinar on how to fill out the form. So it should be interesting. Our paddle auction was a great success. We were able to raise more money than we were actually needed to purchase the piece of medical equipment we were going to. And what that's done for us is when we became a 501c3 public charity, we spent most of our funds with an attorney to get those papers filed, and then there's an application fee to the Internal Revenue Service. And this gave us the money over and above, we raised over and above our price of our medical equipment is going to allow us to put money back into our account, because we also use that money to purchase and supply firefighters with food and beverages when we're on a structure fire that goes several hours. The auxiliary brings out food and water or coffee if it's cold, and to supply that to the firefighters while they're on the fire scene. So all that money will go to good use. Yesterday we had a fatal accident on US 31. The personnel in your fire department showed the most outstanding professionalism that you could possibly expect. They were there for a long time. We spent 8 hours on that scene. We had investigators come from Gaylord. There was a accident reconstruction person there, sergeant from MSP Gaylord, as well as motor carrier from Cadillac, MSP out of Cadillac, Sheriff's Office. It was their accident. They directed everything, and it was quite involved, and it went real well, went real smoothly, removal of vehicles and everything. And I'm really proud of our personnel and the job they did at that scene, considering how cold it was standing out there in the wind. That's all I have for you. If you have any questions for me.
And Ron, through discussion with John this morning, I understand there's going to be a debriefing process for that.
Yes, we are. I discussed today with Under Sheriff O'Hagan whether that process. So we are going to hold a debriefing for all the emergency personnel that were there at our fire station, and we bring in people trained in dealing with that type of PTSD that we go through during those accidents. So we'll be holding that in the near future. So, any other question? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Ron. Item C is the zoning administrator's report. You have that in your packet. I've had a chance to look at that. A few things going on there. Item D, Planning Commission. You've got the minutes in your packet. Shirley, is there anything you want to add to that, to those minutes?
No, there are public hearing minutes and there are regular meeting
Right.
minutes. It was quite a lengthy evening. Nothing further than that.
Okay. Item E is the Board of Review minutes. You have that in your packet as well. F is the PEG report. Dale or Dean, is there anything you want to add to that report?
Well, Dale.
Other than you're still
is
looking
not
for
board
people.
anymore.
Okay.
I missed last week's meeting. Keith, you want to tell us what you did last week?
Yeah, I don't know how interesting this would be, but our server, which was a $13,000 piece of equipment, went down, which means that no videos could be put on television. And we had a spare, I hooked the spare up, and it wouldn't accept the new firmware, so I had to fix the other server, which fortunately, I'm not very educated in electronics, but I guess I knew enough to get it going again. So after 9 hours, the station was back on the air. We started a strategic planning process just last night, which should be interesting. I don't know if we can end up calling it a strategic plan or not, but hopefully it will help us manage our little business a little bit better than we have been. That's pretty much all I got.
Okay, thank you, Keith. Item G, you have your DDA report in your packet. And item H, sewer project. The ad hoc committee did meet today, this afternoon, and after some discussion and review of some financial aspects that Dave Richards put together for the DDA, for the ad hoc committee, excuse me, the ad hoc committee did recommend to the DDA board to approve the agreement, the DDA Township agreement, which basically is the same as the one that we've been looking at for some time, with the exception of just 2 corrections were made. One was, and you all have a copy in front of you, speaks to the DDA contribution for the project. The $500,000 contribution, which is required by USDA, is still in there. The $90,000 annual debt retirement payment is in there, and as well, it now speaks specifically to an up to $541,000 contribution from the DDA for the construction of laterals. The only other change in that was trying to find it. I'm not finding it. Oh, no, the reference to the urban service district, it's now the DDA sewer district in that contract.
And that was changed because the wording was changed for what reason?
Well, I believe the discussion was that we really did not have an urban service district delineated. Nothing specified there. The only thing that we need to add to this, and Brian can maybe help out there, is the map, and he has that. It will be attached.
That Exhibit B or something?
Yes.
Okay, because that
Yeah.
isn't part of your...
Right. And
Okay.
he has that.
Do you
that
have that
map.
to give us tonight?
I don't, we just added this to the contract 2 hours ago, so I wasn't expecting that print copy, so. You know, the urban service, if I can add to what Terry was talking about, the urban service district, that was carryover language from the original contract in 2012, the operations agreement, the wastewater treatment agreement, and there was one other one between the township and the city, where they specifically defined in there what the urban service district was. And we're not changing what we're doing. It's just with the new contract that's been drafted and accepted by the city, the terms urban service district were not used, but sewer service district were. So we wanted to make sure that there was continuity between this contract between the DDA board and the township board, along with the contract with the city.
And none of this alters anything as far as the grant. Okay, do you have the document that Dave Richards did? Wasn't he doing a revenue projection? Where is
Yeah,
that?
yep. Yeah, I have a copy of that.
Can we have that
Sure.
to look at tonight?
Sure. You want to wait a second?
You're redeemed.
You want one, Ruth? Do you have another one? Did you
No.
have one, Dale?
I did one. I wanted to read it.
Here, you're welcome. I have copies if you like.
Should be good to make some.
No, it's got a copy in there.
You're not going to lose anything.
There's a copy for you, Dale. And you've seen two, right?
I don't think you got one there. That one from your DDA board.
Okay, so, first year shows the revenue tax capture being about 175,000. And the expenditures about 115. So where's the other 60 gonna go? The other $60,000 that we're capturing, what's that to be used for?
Well, expenses, building their revenue up so that they can look at taking on other projects like we've talked about with the corridor improvement project, anything of that nature. We've got, minor projects like the Christmas lighting project, things like that.
The other thing later on, if they cannot afford to do one, they may throw it into the
Right.
sewer project and help bring down the cost too.
And that would be
Well, to
at
pay
their
off the debt
choice?
early.
Well, no, they would tell us they want to do it, then it'd be
Yeah.
our choice to do it. But this is the best deal I've seen since I was up here.
Okay, where does it speak to this for that 90,000? Can you point it out to me quickly?
Yeah, page 3, section 3.02, the bottom, annual debt service payment. 3.01 speaks to the $500,000 contribution at the date of closing.
Okay, so it does say not less than 90,000,
Right,
so they could contribute more
yes,
at their choice.
yes.
Could it be also if we needed them to contribute more?
I-
I'm thinking, if something goes wrong with a special assessment collection.
Yeah, I'm sure if we got into a financial bind where, we want the project to be, obviously to be successful and we want to pay the bills on it, you know, that's the biggest reason for their tax capture has
Right.
been for the sewer projects, so.
Should that be worded a little differently, Brian?
You know, that's really an attorney question, but, I mean, if the township board wants to see something more direct to maybe address emergency issue or, you know, funding, it could be reworded. But I don't, it's best to get it in black and white.
Yeah.
I'm going to say my feeling is I don't think the DDA just, if the township board had a problem with special assessment or collecting those funds in a timely manner, I don't think the DDA is going to see this thing fail if they've got money sitting in their account.
But still, black and white is best.
And the only other change on here was item 5.01.2. It was just a typo. It talked about the $541,000 for, it said later costs by the DDA and should have said lateral costs, so that was corrected. But those three are the only changes in this agreement over what we were looking at earlier.
That would be my only wish, that they would have something in there to direct something for emergency purposes if we didn't collect enough in a special assessment.
And Tim?
Yes, sir.
I think it seems to me, I recall at one ad hoc meeting or another, we had those kind of discussions, did we not?
Just so I can hear you.
It just seems to me that at one ad hoc committee meeting, we had some discussions in that respect about emergency,
Well, you know, we
if
had this.
funding falls short.
Sure. So this is, this is my interpretation of how this should play out as the ad hoc board chairman, is that we don't want to overcommit anything and then find ourselves short either. This contract as it is will reduce our funds to, I think, $858,000, which is, I can account for probably a decade and a half, and that's about as low revenue as I've seen yet. Keep in mind that our hope as a DDA board is that this is a seed we're planning to grow the township, and we want to be able to increase our TIF revenue, and putting the sewer in the ground hopefully does just that. But again, what we don't want to do is overcommit, and we talked about, should we have that in the contract where we can say that the door is wide open for the DDA to do whatever we want to. I think that opens the door for some misinterpretation later. I think we just need to agree to the fact that we're all one municipality that want to see this program succeed, and I believe we're on the right path, and we've been very conservative with all of our numbers, and I'm confident with that. If the township board is concerned that not being able to collect the special assessment fees is an issue, and somehow the township board themselves are not going to be able to fund what that difference may be, I don't think that it's a concern that justifies prolonging this process. I think that, again, we all realize for maybe the first time ever, we're all on the same page and want this thing to succeed. Obviously, if the township needs the DDA to bridge that gap with funding, I would consider that a non-issue at this point. But if I can answer questions, I'm glad to do it. If you decide that for some reason that needs to be, injected into that contract or that agreement between the DDA and the township board, I would, if we can work our way through it tonight, just so we don't prolong this thing for one more month, try and go forward, I think that'll help. And again, to Dean's point, I think that, our funds are $858,000, but we have to have a firm foundation to grow with if we ever want to see the streetscape, become feasible and things like that. And we know that I think it's the year 2026 before we even get back to where we are today as far as our funds are concerned, not including inflation. So we've got to be careful not to, put all our eggs in one basket and then not have any hope in the future for streetscape and things like that. So Tamara's done a great job as far as trying to get grants and things like that, but should this come down to a matching issue where, you know, there's an opportunity for us to do something with streetscape and we're down to $858,000 and if it's a 50-50 match, we're talking about $1.6 million to do streetscape is nothing. It won't get us anywhere at all. So I just didn't want to overcommit the DDA's funds and tie our hands to any future opportunities.
And we do have the clause in there, 5.0.1, Township conditions precedent, which we kind of, as I recall, put in as an out clause, I guess it would be.
Sure.
If any of the conditions were not met, including those in 5.0.2, the DDA conditions precedent, which talks about their contribution to the project. So,
and that clause is in there twice, once for the township's sake as well as once for the
right.
DDA's sake. Okay. But again, if I can answer any questions, I'm glad to do it. So.
Okay, I still would like to see some kind of an emergency clause in there for that. We're first getting this tonight. This is the first I've seen of it.
well,
So I would like to explore that further.
this is the first you've seen of it with those 3 changes, because
Right.
you had the same thing in front of you
And the first I've
2
seen the
months
cash
ago.
flow projection.
Right, that's, Dave Richards just put that together, so my concern is delaying this for another month. You know, we had that discussion at the ad hoc committee meeting. You know, we talked about calling a special meeting, you know, a week down the road.
And we could do that.
And we can do that, certainly we can do that, but the decision of the ad hoc committee and the DDA board in its entirety with a unanimous vote was to send it on to the board for approval. So if we're going to look for a clause in there to that effect, you know, we're going to have Eric draft that clause, get it back to us. We're going to have to meet again for approval. If we're going to do that, I would like to set a date right now for getting that done. I don't think Eric will have a problem with drafting that kind of language. I think it'd be rather easy for him, and probably if I shoot him an email tonight, I'll have something back tomorrow. So, you know, we've got that to deal with, and then once we deal with that, we also have the contract between the township and the city to deal with, which, again, that one, everyone was in agreement with that contract in principle. It was just getting the DDA contract in place, the funding contract in place before we approved the city contract. So
I'm going to make a motion that we accept this contract.
I'll support that.
motion by Cruz, second by Hachinsky to accept this contract. Now let me ask, do you want to leave it as is, or do you want to do contingent upon a clause?
I don't need that.
Adding a clause? Okay. Any further discussion? Comments on the motion? Okay, so we have a motion on the floor to approve this contract as is for the sewer plan implementation agreement between the Charter Township of Filer Downtown Development Authority and the Charter Township of Filer. Shirley, you want to do a roll call on that, please?
Lachinsky?
Yes.
Walker?
Yes.
Cruz?
Yes.
Williams?
Yes.
Ball? No. Scarra?
Yes.
Kalinowski?
Yes.
Okay. Motion carried. Thank you. Then the next thing we need to consider is the approval of the agreement between the township and the city for the collection and treatment of wastewater. And that agreement is identical to the one that you looked at 2 months ago that was presented that we were okay with. There was one question that came back from the city's attorney, and it was more of a semantic issue, and that's on page 8, item 4.7, pledge. It reads, "This contract between the City of Manistee and the Charter Township of Filer is pledged to the United States Department of Agriculture, Rural Development Division as security on the loan from the agency, and if the loan is in default, the agency is given the right for continued wastewater treatment to the City of Manistee." Originally it read treatment by the City of Manistee, and it was suggested by the city's attorney and then concurred by our attorney that that should read for continued wastewater treatment to the City of Manistee. Otherwise, this is the same identical contract that we looked at 2 months ago.
I'll make a motion that we authorize the supervisor to sign contract with the city of Manistee for sewage.
I second it.
Motion by Hitchinski, second by Cruz, to authorize the acceptance and signing of this contract between the Charter Township of Filer and the City of Manistee for the collection and treatment of wastewater. Shirley, you want to call a roll again, please?
Kalinowski.
Yes.
Cruz.
Yes.
Walker.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Ball. Yes. Bachinsky.
Yes.
Scarra.
Yes.
Okay, under new business, and I guess I would just make a comment that at this point, this is a rather momentous occasion, and it's been a long time coming, but I think we've crossed the bridge, and we've gotten there, so.
Want to thank everybody in the ad hoc committee,
Yeah.
both sides.
Definitely,
Worked out well together, and it is historic.
yeah.
And we're going to go forward, and I think we've all really worked together.
Yeah, it's been a real, I think, a productive process, and like Dean said, a very cooperative joint effort between the DDA, the Township Board, the ad hoc committee members. I thank all of them for all the time and effort that they put into it. To Tamara also for sitting in and helping to guide us through some of the bumps. Likewise with Brian, our engineer from Wade Trim, that's just been invaluable so far in this project, and our attorney Eric Williams. So again, thank you to all of those people.
And I'd like to thank all the people for 2 generations that have been working to get this sewer through. And I think they all deserve a pat on the back because it's been a long time coming.
Okay, moving on to new business. Item A is consideration of approval of purchase of terrorism insurance coverage for the Filer Township offered by the U.S. Specialty Insurance Company for a policy period March 1st of 2016 to March 1st of 2017. And I guess to initiate discussion on that, this is something that we turned down last year. Is that right, Shirley? Right.
That's what I thought.
But
So-
we have to say that. We have to reject it.
And note it in our minutes.
Yes, we did.
Well, if we did, we've met with our insurance company, and he said we're really covered in another part of the policy anyway. But it is something that they have to give us to offer it. So we have to say yes or no.
So we're covered with our insurance policy.
We met with Adam Gandolfi earlier in the month. Most townships don't do it.
Right.
Need a motion? to not purchase.
We have to.
Yeah, we need to
I'll
make a motion
that we
to,
do not purchase the terrorism insurance coverage.
And I'll second.
motion by Hitchinski, second by Skira to not approve the purchase of terrorism insurance coverage for Filer Township offered by the U.S. Specialty Insurance Company for a policy period of March 1st of 2016 to March 1st of 2017. Any further discussion on that? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Item B is we need to look at hiring an architect to design a site plan for the Nelson Street office in order to comply with applicable state of Michigan Public Building Code requirements. Just for a little background information, we have met with Kendra Thompson at that site. Tom and I met with her yesterday and kind of walked through the things that we're looking at doing and what we need, and then she discussed what needs to be done to meet the state requirements. We talked about a cost, and she gave us kind of a ballpark figure that came in the neighborhood of $3,000. We talked afterwards about maybe passing or adopting a motion in up to amount. Still trying to get together with another architect. Been playing phone tag with him for about a week now, and that's Ed Krischwitz of Construction Design Incorporated. Still trying to get in touch with him and set something up to meet at the site to go through the same information with him that we went through with Kendra. So I guess what we're looking at is we need to approve an up to amount so that once we get something from and make a decision which individual we want to go with, we can go ahead and give them the okay to develop plans. They need to do a plan of the existing site and then a plan with the revisions that are going to be made, and that then they will submit to the state for approval and later on inspection. So I don't know if Dean's been involved in this quite a bit, and Ed and Tom, if there's anything any one of you three want to add, certainly feel free.
Well, we know we're going to have to buy a permit. We know that that's going to be a couple $100. And we know that we have to make a lot of changes for the handicap, so. We can't go forward without certifying an architect to do it, so. I would like to make a motion to not to exceed $3,500 fees and license for the Nelson Street project.
But we don't have a person yet, so you're just making a motion to hire some architect.
And a limit of $3,500.
With a limit of $3,500.
Back to the board.
Is that gonna be enough?
Yeah, I think so.
And then we're going to be getting something
I
next
remember
month,
the
maybe
name.
from one or the other, or the two architects, so we can
Right.
choose one? Is that the idea?
Well, we can do that. We can bring it back to the board, or we can, take the lower bid that comes in. From information we've gathered, they're both reputable, both good, and we need to get blueprints done.
It's going to probably be 5 or 6 weeks before we get the prints back and everything anyhow, so, this is just something to work on.
Yeah, Kendra indicated that she probably would not be available prior to the latter part of next week to come back in again and do some measurements and start working on the initial set of blueprints. And that would be at the earliest. So, and like I said, I haven't been able to. We've exchanged phone messages for a week and a half now. Construction Design Incorporated. Dean and Tom did go down to the office, but he was not in at the time they went down there either, so. I'm sorry, was there a second to the motion?
Well, who made the motion?
Tom made the motion to approve up to $3,500 to hire an architect to do blueprint drawings of the Nelson Street house to submit to the state. And Dean seconded that motion. Any other discussion?
Yeah, I knew the name of that other architect. Bill Roy.
Bill Roy, local,
Ludington.
out of Ludington, okay.
But we don't need to get nothing.
Roy and Associates. Roy and Associates.
And I did speak with Brian Sousa tonight about their company, whether they do any of that sort of thing, and he said they do not. Wade Trump. When they, getting into buildings, doing handicap accessible and all that, they do not. They do not do that. So I can contact the company from Ludington. No, I don't know anything about them. So okay. We have a motion on the floor. Shirley, you want to call the roll on that, please?
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Williams?
Yes.
Wall? Yes. Walker?
Yes.
Scarra?
Yes.
Cruz?
Yes.
Kalinowski?
Yes.
Okay, item C is consideration of approval to hire Heinowski Appraisal and Consulting, LLC, to provide an appraisal of Packaging Corporation of America for the Michigan Tax Tribunal. PCA is appealing their tax and their assessment. I've had several conversations with Andrea Crumbeck, Micah Myers, Beckett and Jones out of Grand Rapids, and with Molly, our assessor, and the email, I put a copy of the email in your packet from Andrea that spells out the potential costs of hiring this appraiser, Heinowski, but also included in there is the potential revenue loss if we were to lose this appeal. And so both Molly and Andrea felt that it was definitely in our best interest to hire this person. He comes very highly recommended, has appeared before the Michigan Tax Tribunal a number of times, is respected by them. Andrea also contacted other appraisers within Michigan, and she said she didn't feel that any of those fit the bill for us, wouldn't do the job that this guy would do. She also contacted assessors out of the state, and their costs would be increased because of the need. They said they would need to have somebody local involved also. So this, like it says in her email, felt that this was the best option for us.
I'll make a motion that we go ahead with this.
I support it.
Okay, motion by Scarra, support by Huczynski to approve the hiring of Heinowski Appraisal and Consulting, LLC, to provide an appraisal of Packaging Corporation of America for the Michigan Tax Tribunal. Any further discussion on this? Shirley, would you call the roll, please?
Scarra?
Yes.
Cruz?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Williams?
Yes.
Wall? Yes. Walker?
Yes.
Kalinowski?
Yes.
Item D, opening of sealed brush collection bids for our annual brush pickup in May. I have a bid here from Bruce Schwab. And this bid includes use of a chip rig / dump truck chipper at a daily rate of $150. An hourly rate per chip rig, $85 per hour. And a dump fee, there is no dump fee, that's included in the two rates above. Note, estimate the overall cost for yearly removal to be below $8,500. Due to the 2 area drive-throughs that have been done, we will minimize the cost for Filer Township as much as possible. Okay, so
Chipper and truck was 85.
the chip rig and dump truck
Okay.
/ chipper was $150 per day.
Yeah.
Okay. And the hourly rate for the chip rig is $85 per hour.
And who is that, Terry?
That is Shaw Enterprises.
Is that a 4-day, was that last year, was that a 4 or 5-day pickup?
Oh, I think it
Oh, it's
ran,
at least
it
that.
ran more than a week, but they encountered, I know there was 1 or 2 days that they didn't work because of weather. And I think there was a day that Scott got called off, had to call off some of his guys for another major job. I don't know
It all depends on what's out.
it was, I want to say, you know, I'd have to go back and look at last year's, but I want to say it was 7 to 8 days total of actual work time. Okay. So you've done crunching numbers?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I'll open the other bid, which is from Carl's Excavating Incorporated. The bid was received on March 8th. I didn't include that, and Bruce Schaub's bid was received on March 28th. And Carl's Excavating bid, gas-powered blowers for cleanup at $3.50 per hour. Pickup truck with signage to place between the chipper and traffic at $20 per hour. A 14 cubic yard covered dump truck at $45 per hour. A 20-inch chipper with self-loading grapple at $48 per hour.
How much?
$48 per hour. And then 2 operators / labor at $24 each. So a total of $48 per hour for 2 operators. And it further says we will keep clean all load up areas and roadways when done chipping. We will notify Township of all abnormal sized piles of brush or debris. We will keep track of all items per hour and invoice accordingly. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to call us.
Do you know how this compares with last year's, the comparisons per hour on equipment?
I don't, Ruth, without pulling out last year's and looking at it. Just looking at these figures, they look pretty familiar. They sound pretty much ballpark what they were last year.
I'm missing one set of numbers.
We could take 5 minutes and I could go pull the invoice.
Yeah, why don't you do that? Wouldn't hurt to look at it. Oh, I missed that.
I figured that.
So,
$109 for Carl.
so if my figures are right, total hourly cost for Carl's Excavating would be $184.50. And let's see. Okay, and this is not hourly. This is the 150 is per day, so you'd have to try to figure the number of days at $150 per, and then
What's that 150 for? For the truck?
Yeah, that's for the chip rig and the dump truck / chipper.
Something in that bid not to exceed 8,500 or something?
Not,
In the Schwab.
not to exceed, it's an estimate of the overall cost to be below 8,500. That's an estimate
Well.
of the cost, okay?
Are you pulling that? Are we taking 5 minutes?
Yeah, let's take 5 minutes and do that.
Terry? May I add some information?
Yes, go ahead, Bruce.
On that, the $150 a day fee for the equipment, per unit, per system, how much we have rolling, based on a 10-hour day, so it averages out $15 an hour. Equipment. And it's $85 an hour
Okay,
for the actual employee
So you're-
service of cleanup.
okay, so you're defining your day as a 10-hour day then?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, this is a copy of the invoice from last year, the chipper. Well, let's see, we had, you asked about the number of days, the 12th, the 13th, 14th, then the 18th and 19th, 20th, 21st, and 22nd, so it was 8 days total. 8 days total.
Oh, yeah.
And the
How were the hourly rates for the equipment
well, it's
looked at from this quote to from last year?
well, that's what I got to figure out because these this invoice is
Set up differently.
yeah, it's a total each day. So the chipper $384 for 8 hours. So $48 for the chipper. So that's the same.
Two bids, one said 10-hour day, and I'm just assuming the other one is an 8-hour day, I'm not sure.
It kind of varies because here some of them are, like the chipper is used 8 hours, the dump truck was used 9 hours, 9.5 hours, they're probably making runs after. But just trying to figure out what the cost. So the dump truck, $360 for 9 hours would be $40 per hour for the dump truck, and so that cost is up $5 this year. The sign truck was $170 for 8.5 hours. The sign truck remains the same, $20 per hour. The blower is the same as the quote last year, $3.50 per hour. And then the labor, is the same, $48 per hour for 2 guys.
We've done business with both companies, so
Yeah, we have done business with both companies, and I think the work we've had done by both companies has been very good. We've been satisfied with it, so. So what we're comparing is, if my numbers are right, on Carl's Excavating Incorporated, it's figures out to $164.50 per hour. So to compare, I guess we'd have to do figure what it would be for a 10-hour day, which would be $1,645. What's that?
$100 an hour.
How'd you get that?
The 150 on a 10-hour day is $15 an hour plus $85 an hour for.
Oh, you're on a different one. I'm doing Carl's.
I'm just kind of comparing them. I've got them both written up. You were
Okay.
right on Carl.
Oh, per hour. Okay,
Per hour.
you're doing it on an hourly basis. Okay. And so go ahead. What did you get for the other one?
Well, 15 and 85 is 100. Obviously, we're,
Per day, okay, yep, so you're saying, if you're figuring the dump truck slash chipper at $150 per day based on a 10-hour day, that's $15 for 1 hour.
but equipment-wise, if somebody's got more equipment to be running while they're working, we're talking one truck, run a load, one truck, run a load. Can you explain that to us a little bit? In time-wise, if you're chipping, is your chipper down, your crew down when you're hauling?
No, we rotate vehicles. And the blower units and all that, that's standard cleanup. We do have backpack blowers, rake cleanup. No, it's constant flow. We never stop. We gotta make use of the 10-hour day when we have so much daylight. So, yeah, and we'll probably run secondary rigs too, so we'll run 2 rigs at a time and try to get it done in a matter of days.
So you'd run 2 dump trucks with chippers, so it'd be running continuously while one's running and dumping and another one's
Yeah, we can
chipping?
rotate vehicles out.
Okay. What about safety in terms of putting out, safety?
Yeah.
In terms of putting out any kind of signage or?
Cone system, and I own a sign business, so we do have signs.
Okay.
But yeah, we use cones, we block off all the whole area, and we try to chip in the shoulders, not in the streets themselves. We're running smaller equipment so we can have better access to the shoulders and keep off the main traffic. And we do have a spotter truck that sits behind all the vehicles in case there is an issue, and especially if we have large piles where it may toss chips further, and then we use the chutes and the spotter trucks.
Okay.
Well, how about cleanup? Because the other bid includes some hand blowers that are cleaning
Yeah,
up.
that's all included. That's standard. That's the same system we run for the village of Winneckman and the other townships. It's all included in the bid. The rake up, clean up, that's part of the deal. you want a chip, you gotta clean up the mess, so.
And that's $150 a day for a 10-hour day, plus $85 an hour for the chipper and truck.
Yes, sir.
And last year, we spent just under $11,000, and it was, what did I say, 8 days total?
Yes, 8 days.
Okay.
And there's a limit on the one, right, for 8,000?
Well, it's not really a limit. It says an estimate. The overall cost for yearly removal to be below $8,500. It doesn't say not to exceed. But he's basing that on, an area drive-through that they've done. So.
Well, that's just an estimate. You have to go by what you have there. And
Right,
it's the
right.
equipment and
Right.
the labor. If you can compare
If
the
we-
two of those, that's the best we can do.
Yep. And if I guess we've compared that on an hourly basis, and if we wanted to, we could, project that out to a 8-day or whatever, but I don't think we really need to.
So tell us again what the bottom line is. Carl's per hour and
Okay, Carl's excavating is,
You said 164 something.
That's what you
164.50 for the total, yeah.
in Schwab.
Make sure I got everything. And Schwab's total was $100 daily. I'm sorry,
Hourly.
hourly. Because the chipper was daily.
Well, what's the 85 then per hour? What is that?
chipper and a truck.
No, the chipper's 150 per day.
With the dump truck. The hourly rate, assuming, do you want to speak to that?
The hourly rate for $85 an hour includes all labor.
Okay,
and
that's what I
equipment and
assumed.
cleanup.
Yeah,
It's all included.
yeah.
So it's just a base rate, which will be charged for the other townships and villages. That's the base rate of $85 an hour, and it's based on a 10-hour day. For the equipment, sometimes we run 11 or more, but we never run less than 10. So it does totally work out for $100 an hour.
And
Or better if we can get a long day.
you mentioned other municipalities that you do?
Yes, we've got the village of Winnebago for 3 years. And our contract, or not contracted as of yet, but we're speaking with Frankfurt and a few of the others, starting a new chip program. But the village of Winnebago is monthly, and it's a monthly service we do all year round. And all summer long.
Okay,
It's based on about an 8-month cycle.
yeah, okay. Okay. So, what would
That's
you
billed for
like to
equal
do?
time.
Pardon me?
That's billed for equal time.
Yeah. You're certainly free to speak on behalf of Carl's Excavating, Dell, if you would like to, if you so choose.
chippers? Which chipper? The chippers we use, the two we're using that take 6 to 8 inch. And I've never seen anything larger out there.
Takes
6 to 8 inch.
6 to 8 inch
Yeah.
diameter
And they
pieces.
can take up to 12, but we
Yeah.
always gauge
Well, and I
them
think-
down to 6 to 8 inch. Anything larger than that is cut up and removed on
Yeah.
trailer.
And I
service
think
truck.
we specify on our
We do.
thing in the paper
have a-
that can't be over, what is it? Is it 6?
I haven't read
Maximum?
the ad, but we do specify.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, we put in the ad, to accommodate.
Right. Anything else, Dell?
Time-wise, for the start date, is it any conflict of,
Well, we've kind of traditionally tried to start this the first week of May. Last year, we didn't get started until the 12th of May. A lot of it's going to hinge on the weather, but certainly by the second week of May, we want to get started. Is there any conflict there? Any that you know of, Del? I know Scott's got big enough crews that it shouldn't be. Okay, what would you like to do? Like Tom said, we've had a fair amount of work done by both companies in the last,
Can I see that
Carl's
Schwab
for
one?
some time, and with Schwab for about the past 2 to 3 years. We've contracted for some tree removal, limb removal, these sort of things.
And Bruce, you've got your insurances in place, your liability insurance and all of that?
Yeah, I've already received copies of that for the other work. Yeah.
We spend local dollars on local township residents.
We try to. And you've got that. I just want to look at an address. 4th Street, so Bruce is located in the city.
I am running for county commissioner this year, and this is my district.
Okay.
I do appreciate all the people now.
Well, on 10-hour days, it would figure out to like $1,000 a day.
No. Yeah, I'm sorry, yeah.
Okay,
Right,
so if it went
$1,000 a
8
day.
days like it did last year, that's $8,000. And then for the 150 per day for the chipper rig, the dumpster, it could, if it went 8 days, it would be 1,200 added onto that, which would be 9,200.
No, that would be included in that.
That's included?
Yeah. Yeah, so 1,000 per day.
So Carl's would ultimately be about 20% more, right?
About $3,000 more. If we go by last year, which was almost 11.
Yeah.
Would that be 20%?
That's why we make you treasurer.
Kind of good at something.
Yeah, 10,941 is what it was last year. That was for 8 days.
More than 20.
So we'd be saving about $2,000 if we got it down to 8.
2 to 3, probably, yeah.
Yeah. Well, the savings would depend on how many days we're running.
Because we're going by 8 days
Yeah.
like last year, but it
Yeah.
could be less.
Can I see the Carl's one again? No, the one. This here says a 20-inch chipper. Here's a 20-inch chipper.
That does.
So that would make it, you would think, would go a lot faster than,
Well, it certainly should.
yeah.
Okay, so one is a 20-inch, and what's the other one?
6 to 8 inch. He said they're capable of chipping, so it's an 8 inch
So
max.
logically speaking, it should take Bruce longer,
What's that, Shirley?
wouldn't you think? I mean, you got a bigger chipper, you'd think that you'd be able to
Chip faster.
chip faster and the days would be less days.
Three families pay township taxes, you know. Our tax dollars just support our specialists.
We're aware of that, Betty, thank you.
Come on, come on.
You gotta believe it's a hard decision right now.
Yes.
Well,
Well,
you know,
you-
it might be getting, if you got a bigger chipper, can't you do it faster? And I mean, it was done in like 8 days before. Would
Should
this not
go
take
quicker.
longer with a smaller chipper?
That's not always so. The brush is brush, logs are 20 inches. I never put a 20-inch log part of it for a chipper. And most of those larger chippers are fed proportionally. So they feed and it's slower gravity, but it just depends on the chippers. You know, we run chucking ducks too that shoot its root as fast as you can let go of it. Now they throw that. It just depends on the unit and the crew. I mean, who can decide how far the guy's gonna hold it? Yeah, I do, because they get part of it, you know?
So this 6-inch or 8-inch chipper would have less horsepower, right? Than a 20-inch?
Well, in the 20-inch, I would think would have to have considerable more horsepower to run something through that size, but yeah. Well, I think we need to make a decision, and we're looking at a number of different issues here. Carl's Excavating has been doing this for the township for a number of years, has done a good job. We haven't had any issues. His price is a little bit higher than Shaw Enterprises' price. There's the issue of township residents versus non-township residents. And I know when we do business, we try to do our business in the township as much as possible. But weigh everything, and I'm open to a proposal.
We've tried other people in the past.
We have, and
Yeah,
you
we
know,
have.
it didn't work because the man had smaller equipment. And it's
And
been
we had
so
some
long
problems
ago.
with that. I just saw him say it, but.
Yeah, and it's been so long
If you're gonna
ago,
go
the
just
details
by
are
a-
clear.
I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah.
Well, I'd like to go with the lower bid, but I'll make a motion and we hire Carl's.
Second.
Motion by Hitchinski, second by Williams, to approve the bid of Carl's Excavating. Any other discussion? Okay. Shirley, would you call the roll, please?
Walker,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Machinsky,
Yes.
Kalinowski,
Yes.
Scarra,
Yes.
Ball, yes, Ruth,
Yes.
Thank you, Bruce, for your bid. Appreciate it. The next item on our agenda is the Little Manistee River Watershed Management Plan, which you have in your packet in two parts. One is the management plan. And I guess the first one we looked at last month when Mr., and I can't remember how to pronounce his name, but anyway, when Armus was here and did a presentation. And as I read it, what I understand they're looking for here is basically a support of the plan, of the watershed plan. It's kind of summed up in the first 3 paragraphs of the first document in your packet, the one with the map on it. Basically, it says those signing this agreement are committing to participate to the best of their efforts in the development of a Little Manistee River watershed management plan.
How much is this going to cost in the end?
Well, as he explained at the last meeting, it's they need support in order to get a plan put together, and it's going to be, they're going to look for contributions from individuals and from municipalities. They've had some contributions.
The meetings are supposed to be in the Irons area, and it's where it has, you know, this, I guess, is headquarters of all of this. We don't have the river go right through Filer.
No, it doesn't, but it empties into Manistee Lake, which we're
That's
situated
why we're
on.
part of it.
That's why we're part of it.
So is there something that we need to vote on, or?
Well, you don't need to vote on it if you're not going to do it, but if somebody wants to say yes to the agreement, there would be a motion.
You know, the third paragraph there says the undersigned believe that the health of the Little Manistee River watershed is critical to the well-being and economic health of the area, and that a plan should be created to ensure the wise use and management of the watershed now and for future generations.
So we're way up at the tippy top up here. You see the figure 1? Their village of Stronach is right
Right.
up here at the, calling it village, it's not, but there. And we're right on the border.
How about in the interest of time, we table this until our next meeting? We've got a couple of presentations.
Well, certainly we can do that, but I would ask then that everyone study both of these documents over so that we're ready to take action at the next meeting. Is there any opposition to doing that? Okay. Okay, we will table that then till the May meeting.
Yeah, you got Tamara, and we got...
Okay, item F and is the Red Apple Road Water Tower renovation, exterior renovation. The only thing I wanted to put out there is for you to just give some thought to, do we want to do anything different in terms of what we put on the water tower? Right now it's got the faucet with the drip and Charter Township of Filer. You know, if we want to stay with that, they will just redo it as is. If we want to remove the faucet water drip, they would just paint over, or if we want some other design on it, we've got to give them plenty of lead time on that. So I guess all I'm going to say right now is give some thought to that and get back to me within the next week to 2 weeks and let me know your thoughts on it, okay? Let's move on to item G then. Tom, you asked to have a discussion of the wage of our Secretary Zoning Administrator placed on the agenda.
Yeah, the board, they approved 20 cents an hour, and I'd like to increase that another 30 cents to make 50 cents an hour, effective March 1st. $8 a week raise. not a lot of money. She's quite important in that office, running the office. So I would make a motion for an additional 30 cents.
Tom, I think we ought to give her 30 more cents. I really do.
I'm sorry, I didn't.
Bring her up to 30 cents.
Would make 50 cents.
About 50 cents?
50 cents an hour increase, which, when we approved it last time, I figured out what that was.
It was 20 cents out of the $8.
Right,
This is
the weekly,
the $20.
yeah.
She does quite a lot. Well, you know,
There's a
everything.
whole lot.
She probably doesn't work with two people.
Yeah,
I would like to keep her.
I'll second that motion.
okay. We have a motion by Hachinsky and a second by Kolonowski and Williams to increase our zoning administrator / secretary's wages by another 30 cents per hour.
The only thing I would add
Okay,
is,
so,
you said March, that means we have to go back retroactively into another fiscal year.
yeah,
Would you consider April 1?
April 1st would probably be better. You're okay with that revision to the motion? Okay. Any other discussion? Okay. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. That brings us to presentation by Mark Bergstrom, our County Commissioner, on the Manistee County Strategic Plan. And, I'm sorry, what did you say, Tom?
You forgot Tamara back on the DDA reports, I think.
Yeah, I did. Was there anything you wanted to report on? I'm sorry.
I'm just delighted.
I apologize.
No, and you know what I'm most delighted about is in the last year and a half, I've watched the boards all work together, community work together, and I think that's really phenomenal. We'll do this presentation.
That's what it takes.
Well, good evening. Mark Bergstrom, 4th District County Commissioner. What we want to do tonight is to give you an overview on the strategic plan for Mission County. The county board worked on this for over a year and a half, and we made several changes, modifications to it. And of course, the key facilitator on this was Tamara Pashwinka, who did a great job, and also has assisted us with a strategic plan for the airport too. And I want to just, and Tamara will be making the presentation on this, and then afterwards, any comments or questions you might have, I'd be interested in. When you look at this, you might think about how this impacts Filer Township too. And if there's things that you think maybe could be added or enhanced or changed that would assist in meeting the goals and objectives of Filer Township too. So I think that's probably, other than just an overview of what the county's looking at. The other thing we're going to do is we're going to be monitoring our progress on these goals, and we're looking at things that we'll be spending money on and doing things in terms of how they relate to our strategic plan. So it becomes a guide, really, it becomes a guide. So and that's the way we're looking at it. So I'm going to let Tamara take you through this in fairly short order, I guess. And then would you like, how many copies would you like of the strategic plan for the county? Would you like one for each board member, each trustee? So 3, 6, 7 copies, would that do it?
Yeah.
Okay, then I'll bring 7 copies over and drop those off. I don't have those with me, but I'll drop those off. And that'll give you the detail you want to, if you want to look at that, which I'd recommend. And then again, how does it impact Filer Township? And how could we enhance that in terms of benefit to Filer Township too? So we'll let Tamara take it away.
Okay, so I have 12 slides. I'm going to get through it in short order. So remember, this is the County Board of Commissioners strategic plan. It's not the strategic plan for the county. It helps direct and guide the County Board of Commissioners in their decision making. So there's a little distinction there. So they develop a mission statement. I got it. Through leadership, collaboration, and forward-looking decisions, programs, and services, the Manistee County Board of Commissioners directs resources and creates an environment that achieves prosperity throughout Manistee County. So really, this is really talking about, looking to what their authority is, and they're talking about leadership, and they're talking about working together and collaborating, and they're talking about developing programs and services to make sure that the entire county has prosperity. And their vision is that Manistee County and its many stakeholders are unified around strategies and plans that create places and opportunities that attract families, businesses, jobs, and visitors, supporting a consistent upward trend in the county's prosperity. So again, we're talking about prosperity. We're talking about defining strategies and plans and creating opportunities for ourselves so that we have prosperity throughout the county. I don't know why that's cut off. I apologize. But basically this slide is talking about what a commissioner's role and responsibility is. And I think it's important to remember exactly what their role is in the county. They set a budget, they seek funding, they monitor expenditures, they look at the budget and compensation, they make appointments, very important. They develop personnel policies, they provide and maintain facilities, they participate in programming, they collaborate with local governments and regional governments, and of course the tribe. They adopt ordinances, although not usually. They hire the county administrator, they manage county-owned properties, and they influence policy. So that's their role, and those are their responsibilities. This slide is kind of the organizational structure of the county. It's a little hard to read, but let me just point out that right here at the top, this is the citizens of Manistee County. And that's the biggest block here, because everything that they do is to meet the needs of the citizens of the county. And so we've got the County Board of Commissioners, staffed by a county administrator, who relies on departments, and everything that they're doing is to meet the needs of the citizens. We've got elected officials who are meeting the needs of the citizens, and we have the judiciary who are responding to the citizens. We have a lot of organizations, and we have a lot of boards and authorities, councils and commissions that are, again, they're all funneling to meet the needs of the citizens. So as you can guess, you really need to know what those citizens, what the residents want, what they need, and what their issues are. And part of this strategic planning process was about 9 months of asking the residents of Manistee County, what are the issues? And then taking all that information and digesting it, the County Board of Commissioners were able to develop the content of this plan. This was not something that they did in a room. Just based on what they know, they really spent a lot of time seeking input and understanding those issues before developing the strategic plan, which I commend them for, because that is really hard work. I also just want to point out something I didn't know before I started working with the County Board of Commissioners, is that all of these different boards, councils, commissions, they sit on. They have a huge agenda. They attend a zillion meetings, but they divide themselves among all these boards and commissions, and they are hands-on, and then they bring that information back to the main body. And so that's something I really didn't know until I started working with them, how involved they really are at keeping a touchstone with the county. So after speaking to all the folks that they could in the county, they invited a lot of stakeholders, a lot of residents. They started to see patterns, and what they saw was various areas of strategic focus is what they call it. So economic and community development, county government operations, employment and training, health and human resources, infrastructure, natural resources, and recreational development. So everything, all the goals and strategies they developed fall under these categories. And what's really fun is to see that these categories keep playing themselves over and over again. Master plans, strategies that I've been writing, our recreation plan, you see this, and it's starting to show an alignment of thought, which is really important for getting things done. So I am going to go through this super fast. And this is all available online, and as Mark said, he can get you the document. So they set goals, they set strategies, and they also set action items, which I'm not showing. Obviously, the goal is really broad. The strategy is a little bit more defined, but it's a little more laser focused in the sense that this is what we're going to shoot for. And the action items, which we're not going to show tonight, are steps that they need to take, and they can almost use as a checklist to see how they're moving through implementing the plan. So goal 1, economic community development, basically to have viable jobs, economic opportunities, prosperous communities. They looked at becoming development ready, so that as we get developers and people who want to develop in our county, we are ready to go. Tourism, really supporting tourism, the Pure Michigan brand, and taking advantage of all resources so we can get our message out that Manistee County is the place to come and visit and recreate and vacation. We looked at housing. Housing is a huge issue. We want to create diverse and livable housing opportunities. Look at industry. We looked at 2 types of industry, manufacturing and agriculture. Obviously, we know manufacturing has been a historic mainstay of our economy. We need to make sure that we are addressing their needs, we're retaining them, expanding, and attracting new manufacturing. And then when we talk about agriculture, that is a huge part of Filer Township economy, Manistee County economy as well, and so we need to focus on how to enrich that part of our economy. So our goal number 2 is really looking at the county government operations, to have the operations fiscally responsible, technologically innovative, striving for strong leadership, accountable, effectively communicating and providing safety to all citizens. This is a big one. A lot of strategies. They are talking about financing to make sure there's fiscal accountability. They're talking about technology, making sure that they had advanced technological innovation. They're collaborating. They're sharing services to make sure that the technology is everything it needs to be. We've got leadership and accountability. They want to promote. They want a culture that promotes effective leaders. They want to hold themselves accountable to the public, accountable for their actions. So remember, that's the Board of Commissioners talking about themselves. So communication, they want to make sure that they always have effective and timely communication to you folks. Safety, strive for leading practice and efforts to ensure safety throughout the county. And again, all of these are fleshed out in action items and how they're going to achieve these strategies. So I'm going through them rather fast, but when you look, you can see things that they're going to do to make sure that they achieve those strategies. Goal number 3 is education and training, to have a county where residents have quality education and training opportunities that allow them to reach their full potential. So, they're looking at educational opportunities that they themselves can help with students. So they're talking about job shadowing. We're talking about cradle to career educational opportunities, so they're supporting K through 12 education. And I can give you an example of how the county commissioners were really instrumental in helping forward this strategy by supporting Launch Manistee, which I don't know if you've heard about, but it's won state awards for really starting to work on K through 12, not only to get kids into college, but those who need to go off to trade school, need to fall into an apprenticeship, really just to make sure we've got an educated population so that we can attract those jobs. So county employee educational opportunities, so within county government, making sure that those employees are trained and effective. Health and human resources, to be a county where you can receive affordable quality health care and preventive services. The preventive services is something that they added this year. Really looking at behavioral health services, senior care. We have a huge senior population in our county, so making sure that we're focusing on those folks. Our medical facilities, work to support medical facilities, and prevention. So we've got develop the policies and provide support to programs that focus on prevention. A lot in there, a lot that they can do, and a lot that they continue to do. Infrastructure, to maintain and develop public infrastructure and transportation services while seeking ways to enhance and expand those services. Certainly Filer Township has done great things tonight on infrastructure. Always good to know that you have the support of your county officials as well. municipal sewer and water, looking at enhancing and expanding infrastructure along US 31 commercial corridor. This right here is what's going to help the county planner and I to build on what Filer Township has already started, which is planning for the US 31 corridor, taking that all the way through to County Line Road North. It's nice to know we have the support of the County Board of Commissioners on that. Roads, something that is always a big issue about supporting and improving our roads. Non-motorized transportation, making sure we've got those pathways. Deep water port, very important to our economy here in Manistee County. Blacker Airport, as Mark mentioned, just did their strategic plan, but what an important economic incubator it is for our county. What a great piece of infrastructure that we need to support, and they identified that in this plan. Public transportation, maintain, enhance, and expand public transportation services. And then rail. Again, to expand rail, maintain, enhance, and expand rail services. So, we've got non-motorized transportation, deep water port, Blacker Airport, that's our air, public transportation, and rail. They're kind of hitting it all. Natural resources, to be good stewards of our natural resources. This one really supports our recycling program and then general natural resource stewardship. These, they concede, are, have more work that needs to be done and are going to flesh out over time. But the fact that they are talking about identifying and encouraging environmental stewardship is really important. Tonight you guys talked about Manistee County Conservation District and supporting, I think you denoted $700 to them. That kind of support by you guys, by the county commissioners, means that we're a county that is looking at all of our natural resources, which we have an abundance of, and are trying to be good stewards of them. Recreational development, provide quality recreational opportunities to utilize the natural resources. So this goal is what supported Rob and I doing the countywide recreation plan. And now they changed this year, they added to implement that plan, and that means now we have the support to go and seek grants, seek collaboration, and all the other things that we need to do to get that plan implemented, but we have their support. This one is Recreation for All, and we were talking at the DDA meeting, I think, we were talking about Magoon Creek. We're talking about how we want to make sure that Magoon Creek is something that is easily accessible through all people with all abilities. So, the County Board of Commissioners, they recognize that as well, to ensure access to recreation for all users, ages, and abilities. Again, seeing that alignment between what the county is doing, townships are doing, it's really important for us when we go to implement this to seek funding and resources. That is the super duper, I'm almost going to pass out version of the county Board of Commissioners strategic plan. There is so much good stuff in here, and it was really great to work with all the residents of the county in developing this, and then the Board of Commissioners to have them identify what the residents need and to see it in this document, and then for us professionals who are trying to implement this to have that support in all these different areas. And then for me personally to see it start translating into work that, the boards that I work for at the local level, townships, it's transcending, and that's really, really important to get things done. So Mark, I give it back to you.
Well, I have to admit, I've never seen you run through it that fast.
I have spent an hour and a half doing it before.
I think you're pretty close to 10 minutes on that. But any questions or comments? We feel, the whole board feels very good about this, and that it's going to be a guide for us. And I think we've addressed most of those issues that we're going to have to address in the future. And this is going to be also, like I said, a guide for how we spend funds too, and what we support, what we won't support. So I think the key too is does it really work for the people in the other communities in Manistee County. So I don't know if you have any comments or questions at this point on the strategic plan the county's put together. If you see how it might benefit Filer Township, if you see some of the goals and strategies we're doing, do they relate to the goals and strategies for Filer Township? I would think they do. A lot of them do. So any comments or questions at this point? Okay, well, I will get you 7 copies of the plan, and that will give you the leisure to look at that and review it, and maybe there'll be some comments that you want to make on it too. But we wanted to at least get it out and make sure that you're aware of it too, so, thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Tamara. A lot of good stuff. Just trying to catch up with you in that 10 minutes and assimilate it all. So I look forward to getting a hard copy to look through, Mark.
Okay, great, thank you.
Thank you very much. Public comment. Any other public comment tonight? Okay. Anything else to come before the board tonight? Dean, do you have anything else?
No.
Dale?
No.
Shirley?
No?
Ruth?
No.
Ed? No. Tom?
Thank you, covered that.
Quick and easy. I have nothing else either. So I will entertain a motion for adjournment.
To adjourn.
Motion by Skira, second by Cruz to adjourn. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? This meeting is adjourned.